As someone in their 20s, it is very clear that you cannot win at life without taking risks. You have to suppress fear. Here's why I do it. So I know that when I win, the win was always mine to direct. I attracted it, and I will be very much more impactful as I have grown, and I will always have more to expand and more to attract. You see, I've been observing me for a very long time. So I've learned that even if, as I get closer to my goal, the pressure gets very intense and things start to seem impossible, I have that mental switch that turns off fear and will allow me to lock back in and refocus. So I will recover regardless. This is something I developed since I was going to school, because you know that your future is on the line. So you have to do what you have to do. And I just keep that in the back of my mind. We've all been developing this skill since school. So this makes taking risks a lot less scary, because I know that every problem is figure outable. And this is why I strongly advise anyone, especially high schoolers, to always be learning skills, always be building on skills, because even if everything goes to zero in the future, you can always lean on your skills to help your journey or restart your journey. And this just gives you that reassurance that you need to keep going, because the idea is to keep that switch on. Keep that switch on in your brain that turns off fear. The more you do it, the more it becomes second nature to you. So every time you get to a crossroad, you just decide. Like, you don't spend too much mental energy thinking about all of the negative outcomes. You just do it. Keep doing it. It's gonna get easier. The more you do it, the easier it gets. And it's funny because you would think that something this simple would be easy, but it's very difficult to do, especially your first 100 times. I know now that activating that switch requires God energy. That's the energy to create a new reality, right? Every time you practice controlling that switch, turning on that switch in your mind that turns off fear, you shift into a new frequency. Your frequency elevates and you become a lot more efficient in powering your switch so that you're even able to keep it on. Think about the things we have invented as humans. If you need a specific voltage for something to work, then you need a source sufficient enough to deliver enough power for it to work. This works the same way in us as humans. As children of God, every time we use our mental faculties, we naturally tune our frequency to a higher vibration, and this improves your ability to create your own reality, just as God intended. Literally, the only reason why we find ourselves stagnated is because we don't use our mental faculties enough. We don't take the time to build pictures in our minds of the outcomes we want and get emotionally involved with them. We need to practice doing that more. You see, when you become obsessed with the outcome, you immediately lose all fear of the process. Then you just start moving towards your goal. So when you practice controlling that switch in your mind, your frequency elevates and you become more efficient because you tap into that universal energy that is required to create reality. And you're able to now transmute all of your ideas into physical form. And simultaneously, as you work on increasing your capacity to create reality, you also learn how to create reality, because you're actually going through the process and not just thinking about all the things that could go wrong before you start. Every time you suppress your fear of starting something, you literally open up doors to attract exactly what you want towards you. And you realize that it was never as hard as you thought it would be. You just needed start. So you have to suppress those negative ideas that flood your mind every time you have to start something, and just remind yourself, what's the worst that can happen? Even if everything goes left, I could just start again, start over, continue from where I left off, or just go in a completely different direction. Normally, that thing that you want to start probably won't kill you. So once you develop that mindset, then you become more willing to at least try. So you become more willing to start. And once you get past that starting point, everything just falls like a domino effect, and you move closer towards your goal. Sometimes a lot faster than you thought you would. Even if that's the case and it is a life or death situation, you would still be able to tap into that universal energy when your back is against the wall to figure out solutions to your problem that you would not be able to figure out before because you weren't thinking on that frequency. You're now able to draw ideas into your mind about how to solve your problems in ways that you couldn't think of before, and you become better at making informed decisions that move you closer towards your goals, because you're not operating from a place of fear and your vision is clear. Even if at some point you encounter turbulence, you are better able to control your losses because you're focused on decisions that move you towards your goals. You're not just scrambling around trying to make sure you don't lose, because not losing is not the same as winning. You stop thinking about how small the impact of you starting would be, and you just focus on the fact that it will compound over time, and you just keep moving forward. You learn to be comfortable with stacking small wins that essentially add to creating your bigger picture, rather than thinking about all the things that can go wrong and never starting, which only ensures that you lose in the end. The longer you keep this up, the more you develop a just do it and see type attitude versus oh, it probably won't make sense anyway type attitude. And if you're in your 20s like me, just imagine the results over the next couple years, even over the next 20 years, if you're thinking long term. Insane. But hey, let's say you still don't believe me. Even if you're unwilling to do it because you feel like much won't change after you do it, just do it and see where it takes you, and see how fast, because you never know. We're in our 20s, if you're like me, and we're supposed to be solving problems as humans. That's why we're on this earth. It's just how we're wired. So just keep taking risks. As a race, we have constantly been solving problems, fixing things, developing things, growing. That's why we're not in a cave right now, running from some predator or hiding in a tree, trying to survive until morning, because we constantly evolve through taking risks and figuring out solutions. So if you have an idea for something you want to do with your life, just go for it. Just turn off that fear switch and go for it. At this point, we've already figured out that starting is the hardest part. So you even clicking on this video means you've already taken the first step or a couple steps to start moving towards your desired reality. So don't think about where you're going to get the drive from to continue, because after those first steps, you start being affected by sunk cost fallacy, and that will help keep you focused on finishing what you started, because you will constantly have to be readjusting as you move towards your goal. Once you keep building that finished product in your mind and you're focused on the end goal, you can operate like a rocket ship. When rockets go to space, they don't just set some random coordinate and head towards it on a straight path. It's constantly readjusting, making micro adjustments every second along the journey. Even after it gets to the destination, it's still micro adjusting all the way until it lands. So you just have to keep building out that image that you pictured when you started and keep adding details and keep fixing, and eventually you will come to accept that you are able to create that vision that you had when you started. You see, when I dream big. So even if I could not muster up the courage to start for myself, I definitely was gonna always start for my family. And I'm talking future family, distant future. I find peace in knowing that I will be grandpappy in 100 years, 200 years from now, that laid the foundation that allowed my family, my entire family, and the family of my friends and everybody else whose lives I touch, by starting now, so that they would be able to experience the freedom that I envision for them. Because I just had the courage to start now. So even if you can't do it for yourself, do it for your family, do it for your friends, because you never know how far this will go. And you should be hoping for it to go far. You should be planning for it to go far, actually. That's enough positivity, and that's a big impact. So if you won't do it for you, just do it, because you never know who it might help. Don't worry about where the money is going to come from. You're already a billionaire. You're just young. And this mindset assures me that, honestly, everything will be fine as long as I keep moving forward. And I actually want and enjoy what I'm attracting. So the real question is, well, the only question is, why not risk it? Why not? When you're dealing with uncertainty, you could always ask who, what, when, where, how, why. But somehow, when us as humans face a new problem and we can't figure out how to solve it, we just stop there, when we really just need to change the question and maybe even ask who can help us solve it, you know? So when I talk about micro adjustments, it's not just adjustments to your actions and what you're physically doing to move towards achieving your goal, but also adjustments in your plans, adjustments in your questions, adjustments in your environment, who you're talking to. All of these things come into play, but you can't figure any of this out until you start genuinely. So the first thing to change is how you deal with fear. You need to suppress fear and change your mindset. It's all a mindset thing. Once you eliminate fear, you learn to embrace change, and not just changes to your environment, changes to your plans and all of that. The changes that come within you, within yourself, and then what anybody else thinks becomes relevant over time. Like whether that's your parents, how they feel about what you're pursuing now, or what you're into, or I don't know, your friends, your partner, whoever, your kids. Just focus on yourself, because if they can't accept that you need to move into a new space, a new frequency to better your life and the people that you want to see doing well, then you ain't got no control over that. So just accept it and focus on yourself and keep moving forward. That's it. Know yourself, love yourself, because you got to love the changes that come with you, or else you just back to where you started, and then you're gonna be scared to take the next step. So just keep laying the bricks for your foundation, and remember that you're not doing it for love from people or approval from people. You're doing it because you want something and you have to go after it, or else you're just gonna be upset in the end. You're gonna be sad, probably gonna be miserable, and we don't want that for you. You don't want that for you. I doubt it. If you do, then you should just click off this video right now. But just start building right now. Just go. You're not building for people. You're building for yourself. Like, so what does anybody else's opinion have to do with it? It should be irrelevant. Just focus on yourself, because you were born by yourself. Even if you are a twin, you did not come out at the same time as your twin. You were born by yourself. When you hungry, that's you suffering. So anybody else stopping your progress just don't make sense. You really should just be focused on your creation and delivering value to the world. So just focus on yourself. Start now. Anybody feel like they got anything to say, just ignore it. I mean, you could literally just block any bad energy coming your way. That's part of your mental faculties as well. You have the ability to reject information. So somebody try to inundate you with BS, you just block that out, you know? Does this add towards my goal being achieved? No. Get rid of it. Don't even pay any attention. Just start and lock in. That's all. Kill fear. You can't actually kill fear. At least I haven't figured out how to kill fear. It's always there, but you're just suppressing it and moving forward anyway. And that's how you win the game. This was my first recording. This was my first video talking on this topic, so I already took the first step, and hopefully this inspires whoever listening to this to take the first step as well. So just go for it, and let's build together. Know yourself, love yourself, and always focus on the end goal. If you're always imagining your creation as you build it and you actually desire it, you will not even notice the actual intensity of the work that you've been doing. Your mind just focused on the beauty of the end, you know what I mean? And in turn, you notice the beauty of the now, because your mind will start to see the now for what it will be. So you're starting to mentally see the transmutation. And your curious mind loves that, because the divine loves that. It's always for fuller expansion and fuller expression. If you could visualize it, you'll want it more. So just keep trying to visualize. Just focus on the end goal. Kill fear and focus on the end goal. You can't be scared if you focus on the end goal, because fear ain't the end goal. You know? And that's how you lock in and start building multiple streams of income. Because as you solve more problems, you're delivering more value to people, which is what we really need to be doing. You had to experience where we experience to reach here. So, kill fear. Not kill it, but what you need to do is shift your focus Don't focus on it. Sometimes the best advice
is no advice.
So subscribe if this helped you.